What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Nathaniel Gaming, and we're back, and we're going to be talking about the Winter Spotlight event, based on how fun it was. This is probably going to be my last Winter Spotlight video, just because there's not really much to talk about for the Winter Spotlight, as lots of the games present were, not very good, but we'll determine which ones were the most fun for me during my playthrough. So there's going to be a lot of bias in here, because some games, I started out with a lot more progress than others, and as you know, especially for the Winter Spotlight, the more progress you had in a game before it started, the better your experience is going to be. But I'll definitely be going over those factors when I talk about each one. So let's get started right away. This is going to be a lot faster than the difficulty-wise, because actually it might be about the same, because there's a lot to talk about based on how fun these events were and how maybe they can do better later. So first we're going to be talking about Bloxburg. So Bloxburg was not very fun. You had to do 4 different mini games for the standard token, and there is no elite token. So basically you just have to stand in, the winter area and compete in those mini games, and then they're very simple. There's nothing really to show for it. It was not extremely fun, considering that once you did 3 mini games, you were at 96%, and also I never did figure out how to shovel snow. So maybe that was just like a skill issue on my part, but I still was waiting around for that 4%, which I knew that, it could have easily been only 3 times. It did not have to be 4 times. I know I was supposed to be shoveling snow, but there was no indication where the snow was in the hub, so I never actually got around to it. I'm gonna put it in neutral. It was fine. I did not really feel anything during the Bloxburg. I was just slightly annoyed, but not too annoyed to make it go down any lower. Next is Greenville. Greenville was actually very pleasant, with the 2 chapters that you did have to complete with their boss fights. The boss fights, yes, were, super duper easy. I mean, it is just a standard token. It's not like elite token material or anything. So I did feel like that Greenville was pretty enjoyable, considering all the garbage that I did have to go through during this event. So I'm gonna be putting Greenville in pretty pleasant. I mean, there was a lot of stuff to do. I think most of the problems with the standard and elite tokens are that either there's nothing to do or there's too much to do, and I think Greenville kind of hit it pretty nicely there, and did not over complicate things. And it is just a standard token again, and this is the last one that's only a standard token, so it makes sense that there's not much content in Greenville, so I wasn't expecting too much. Next is Bed Wars. The first token, neutral. It really, you just play the game and then eventually you will get it, and if you're going for the elite token, you're probably going to die once or twice, and then you'll just complete the standard token along the way. So you pretty much complete this one by default when going for the elite token. Now, I'm gonna say that the Bed Wars elite token, which is basically just beating Adetunde at the top of the mountain, it's also neutral. I did not find it very pleasant, because you're literally just shooting Adetunde with a tactical crossbow for 5 minutes and praying you don't die. It's not really engaging, as he only has a couple attacks. There's no phases or anything, so it's very standard, but it was not unbearably hard. The elite tokens definitely get harder from Bed Wars, and Bed Wars is definitely one of the easier elite tokens to complete. Next is Bee Swarm. Now, I thought the standard token was really pleasant. Now, Bee Swarm, is very popular because it's very relaxing, and there's lots of stuff to do. When you're doing your standard token, you have so many different quests to do, and so many things to explore. There's stickers everywhere. There's badges. There's royal jelly hidden around the map where you can convert your bees into. So I was doing a lot of stuff while doing the token, and like I said in my other tier list, I started from scratch for this event for Bee Swarm, and as you know, the grind for Bee Swarm is a lot, but they definitely put a lot of things along the way, so you're not bored out of your mind. Now, the elite token, it was pretty much unbearable. I spent 6 hours in Bee Swarm to complete the elite token, but it has been nerfed. I will say it has been nerfed from 3 bears to 2 bears, which makes a giant difference, because you don't have to collect the 750,000 pollen, or you don't have to collect the field dice either, and you don't have to kill the vicious bees. You only have to do Mother Bear and Black Bear's quest, in which I already talked about in my last video on how simple it is now. So the elite token now is pretty, actually really easy. It's not that difficult. It only takes about like 2 hours or so. But when I did it, it was pretty much unbearable because of the scaling of the bear quest. The scaling was so like horrendous. And I know this Beesmas event is for like actual Bee Swarm players, not for people, you know, just joining the game for the first time. It makes sense, but thank goodness Onnit nerfed the event, so now people can actually get the Bee Swarm token while there's less than a week left on this event. Next is Creatures of Sonaria. I thought the standard token was, you know, neutral, is fine. You know, flying around getting those Christmas trees was, you know, nothing too annoying. They're everywhere, and then the sleighs are also marked. And yeah, I mean, there's the occasional, you know, there's no presents under this tree, let's go to another one, and then never being able to find a tree. But other than that, really, it wasn't anything that made me like not enjoy playing Creatures of Sonaria. And same with the elite token. You know, the quests were, you know, fine, but there was just so many quests and so many things that I had to do, and I couldn't do like multiple quests at a time. You know, that's a big issue with, you know, a lot of these games. The thing about Bee Swarm was that you could do a lot of things at the same time as doing your quest. So you know, you're playing the game and you're having fun, but for like certain things like Creatures of Sonaria, you had to do everything linearly. At least with stuff like the badge hunts, you could get, not the badge hunts, like the item scavenger hunts, you could get the, you know, the cookies or the presents in any order you wished or whatever. Creatures of Sonaria, you have to do everything linearly. Whenever you go into a section, you have to finish it. I don't know, I think. And then the flying's also really slow, and there's also like people that just kill you. It wasn't like unbearable, but still it wasn't like very motivating. Next is Dragon Adventures. Dragon Adventures, the mini games, was pretty pleasant. You know, I did it with my friend, and we were, you know, having a decent time. The snowball thing, we just brought in an alt because waiting for 3 people can take a while, but other than that, it was pretty nice. We were like, you know, I know you don't have to like actually complete some of those mini games. You can just sit there, be AFK, but you know, when we did play them, they were very pleasant to do, and we were having a good time. Now, the Dragon Adventures Elite token required you to, you know, find some keys and open this door. The keys were kind of confusing, but like it was pretty chill. We did use a guide, so we kind of like, you know, didn't get through the puzzle part, which probably I know was like the whole point of the elite token, was that you're supposed to solve a puzzle. But other than that, like once we got it, flying around like doing all of that stuff wasn't too like overly annoying or didn't make like, you know, anyone feel annoyed. And like the dragon flying was pretty, you know, chill, and then the winter map was pretty large and there was lots of stuff to do, and the keys are pretty spaced apart from each other and not in any like garbage places. They weren't in like any like extremely annoying places to find, so it was really nice. Just to impress, you know, they made a whole storyline for it. I know it's just their winter event. They just asked you to complete like some chapters, but the normal token was fine. It was, you know, you had to do the obby, which, you know, could get annoying, but you know, it was very chill. You know, Just to Impress was for like 5-year-olds, so you can't expect them to create anything too crazy. And then of course getting the standard token from the reindeer thing, you know, you keep your eyes open and like trying to find it. I just crashed into every single obstacle, so I was moving at a slow enough speed to actually see like to actually be able to see the standard token when I drove past it, so I didn't miss it. I actually did end up playing the entire Just to Impress winter thing without getting either tokens, but that was just because I didn't read like where they were. I think once I did end up reading like, you know, where they actually were on the badge or the portal in the Winter Spotlight, it becomes a lot better and probably maybe even fun if you were just doing Just to Impress just for fun. Now, the elite token for Just to Impress is in the Santa Claus boss fight, and I'm gonna say the Santa Claus boss fight was kind of funny just because he looked looked funny. It was definitely interesting. Also, it was the fight was easy, but it remained interesting. It was never like boring. You're never like sitting around. Of course, I'm always fearing when he's jumping and whatever. And then the elite token, you know, it's just off to the side. But I think the main part of it was, you know, the experience of the boss fight. And it's nice that they did a boss fight instead of a long obby like the last two, or like the last event. Okay, Driving Empire, the racing, just racing the same thing 5 times was incredibly boring and did not, you know, like make a good impression. It didn't say, oh, this is a super good game, Driving Empire or not. It was like, oh, this is super boring, and, you know, like, I raced 3 times, and, you know, I was feeling good, and then, because they, immediately when you enter the hub, they put you in, like, the easiest race, and then you just do that 5 times. It was extremely boring, and did not have, like, very much substance in it. Now, the Driving Empire Elite token, which is collecting the 10 cookies around the map, is not really fair. Like, 2 cookies are not on the main island, which means that you have to go out of your way to find them, and again, there's literally no indication at all. There's no, like, there's no map. I think that's really a big issue in Driving Empire. There's no in-game map, so, like, guides have a hard time showing people where they are. And you just have to, you know, watch a guide maker's video on 0.25 speed to find every single cookie that you missed, just because it wasn't even on the island that you started in. It was literally off to the side. Driving Empire was literally unbearable, and, like, it was extremely boring and tedious, and did not, like, leave a good impression. Next is Dusty Trip. Now, I'm gonna say this: the Dusty Trip Elite token was horrible. It was so bad that even with a guide, we were confused. Like, all the random different things you had to do just, like, made it, like, so insane, and like making us wonder, like, who would ever think to do this? Like, how was this badge even found in the first place? Now, I will say that the first half of it was fine. The Grinch boss fight, it was pretty good. I would actually say it was pleasant. I mean, even though they can one-shot you, like the enemies that the Grinch spawns in his boss fight, they can just one-shot you. And of course, walking into houses is super dangerous if you don't already have a weapon, which by the way, there is a shotgun in the house, so you should pick that up. But other than that, like, the Dusty Trip experience was extremely horrible. That game took 2 hours, but not only did it take 2 hours, you cannot die in Dusty Trip. If you die, you have to spend Robux to revive, and it would be super nice if they just gave out a free revive, like, you know, from the group or whatever, because dying in Dusty Trip, especially, like, when things just, like, one-shot you and, like, drop from the sky, or you're raiding a house and then all of a sudden you're swamped with, like, 3 gingerbread men, like, and then you just lose your entire run, and you have to, you know, drive to 3,000, drive to 6,000, drive back to 1,000 for the elite token and whatnot. Like, that stuff is just, it was horrible. Dusty Trip is definitely one of the more difficult elite tokens in this event. Next is Elemental Dungeons. So basically in Elemental Dungeons, you just had to kill the dungeon boss once. I'd say it was pleasant the first time, but for the elite token, wrong one. For the elite token, it was definitely boring, because you had to, not only did you have to kill the guy 5 times, they did try to add a little thing by, you know, making you find these marked sparkling presents, but we did struggle on the last 3 and had to look them up. They were near the Santa house, which, you know, caused a lot of confusion, because we went through that dungeon more than 5 times trying to just find, you know, those sparkling presents. And of course there's the 3 presents were definitely out of the way, and you know, I know it's like finding presents is, like, super easy, and, you know, they have to make it difficult for the elite token, but those 3 presents that were out of the way were kind of infuriating. And also fighting the same dungeon over and over again was also not very fun. Maybe if they, you know, had like a level 2 or a level 3 where there's, you know, harder bosses or something, even if they're harder, at least there's more substance in it than just fighting the Grouch 5 times in a row. Okay, next is Rivals. Rivals, the dueling was very pleasant. I just, like, bullied this level 6 guy in an elevator and got the duels easily. I just say get an ult. Getting an ult is honestly the easiest way to do this quest. And if you don't get an ult, just go, like, into some server, find this, like, you know, child, and then ask to 1v1 him for Robux, and then you'll get an easy win, like, super simply, and you don't have to fight any people with, like, 200 win streaks or whatever. Now, the Rivals event with the 50 players, for the Elite Token, not the 50 players, that's Blade Ball, but for the Battle Royale mode in Rivals, actually was really fun. Like, I am not, I was on mobile, I was not very good at, first-person shooters, but I only really had to play realistically 5 whole rounds, and honestly, like, even though those rounds take a while, it was super fun. Like, just killing, like, people everywhere. It reminds me of, like, the old days of, there's this game called Weapon Kid. It was super, like, fun, and then you get to, like, there's, like, people everywhere. If you're bad at, like, first-person shooters, or you're, like, on a phone, I understand, like, this might be, like, super, like, infuriating, but, I mean, it was super mild. It's not asking you for anything crazy, like, outrageous. It's asking you for your pure skill and how good are you at shooting. You don't even have to be good. You can just, like, snipe someone when they're low, and you'll complete this quest eventually. It's not like you have to restart if you leave the server or whatever, or if you die, you have to restart, or it's like an insane grind to get specific weapons to kill people. No, it's just like everyone has pretty much the same weapons, and you just, prove you're the best. And I thought that was very pleasant. Okay, what happened to Sonic? Okay, well, I'm missing Sonic's... Okay, I got it. Okay, I got Sonic Speed Simulator standard token. I was missing it for some reason. Let's just move this here. Okay, moving on to Sonic Speed Simulator. Now, like I said with Bee Swarm, it's pretty much on the same, like, standard as Bee Swarm, where you just, like, grind for a while. But the thing is that Bee Swarm had things to do. Sonic Speed Simulator did not have anything to do except run around and level up. Like, you could open eggs, but that doesn't actively help you with completing your quest. At least with Bee Swarm Simulator, completing, the bear quest will give you better weapons and will give you, like, what you need, basically. Like, you pretty much have to complete the quest based on progression, and they were fun. Like, they were, like, fun anyway, and, there was actually, like, things to do. Sonic Speed Simulator is just running around a giant map and, like, being bored out of your mind. Like, the first standard, the standard token was, I think, worse than the Elite token, only because, like, running around collecting this currency that spawns everywhere is just, like, not fun. And it was 1,000, I think, maybe, like, lower that. I mean, it is just, like, it was just time-consuming. It was not, like, interesting. If it was interesting and time-consuming, like, stuff like Greenville, like, that's really what it should have been. And maybe, like, defeat enemies along the way, because I feel like enemies are super underused in that game, and they should have done something more with it. And now the Elite token, collecting the presents, I actually found it, like, kind of interesting, like, a little bit interesting, but still really annoying, because at least you can optimize how to collect the presents. Like, you can make a route for yourself, and, every time go faster and stuff. This is that kind of thing where it's, like, super, like, you don't think about it, but, like, you end up doing it anyway, and which made the experience a lot better. Definitely better than the standard token, because I'm like, oh, I can get the one under the waterfall, and then I can jump up to that one, and also the presents spawn in the same place. So you can definitely make routes with the Elite token, which made, of course, it more engaging and more, like, actually you have to think about it instead of just, like, running in a circle around a giant map. So that definitely made it neutral. But however, 100 presents is a lot. Like 100 presents is like you had to do that 20 times. You had to make 20 trips and getting 5 presents each trip if you wanted to complete that, and that's honestly a lot. I think when I was at 50, I was, like, done with it. I mean, like, how many tries does it really take to optimize a route to getting 5 presents? Not very long. maybe if there was a speed run, that would actually be kind of cool. Maybe if there was a speed run to like, you know, get as many, like a specific amount of presents, and they put all the presents around the map, and you had to get 10 presents in less than 30 seconds or whatever. Then it would reward you for playing the game and upgrading and rebirthing and all that, and it would be pretty fun. But no, you just have to do the same thing over and over again, and you know, it was fine. It was definitely better than the rings though, because at least you know, thought about it while you were playing. Next is Blade Ball. Blade Ball, the normal standard token, was neutral. I mean, like, you just waited until you got onto a pro team and then watched the pros destroy everyone else for the Santas versus Elves thing. Not very engaging and not very, like, interesting. Now, Blade Ball's elite token, I thought was kind of fun. Now, fighting against 50 people and needing to get top 3 in, like, a super sweaty, like, type of game does not really sound fun, but I actually got kind of lucky and I joined a really low server, and that's actually a tip I have. You should join a really low server for the Blade Ball Battle Royale. Just keep leaving and rejoining until you have a server with, you know, less than 20 people, and then it actually becomes intense. Like, it actually becomes, like, pretty fun. Like, trying to, you know, kill off 20 other players with 2 balls hopping around. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. And now, I do understand with 50 players, you know, that takes forever and stuff, but of course you can just hop servers. And I know I make it sound like super easy, like you could just hop servers, but like, I bet like there is some servers where you will get lucky, or you can just grind it out with those 50 people. Blade Ball is not like really that difficult. I mean, like, you just block the ball a little bit before it comes to you and you'll be fine. I'm pretty sure people just, you know, don't know how to play like Blade Ball properly and don't like understand that like you can jump and stuff and that like does things. I don't really play Blade Ball, and I still had a fun time, so I think that Blade Ball's elite token is definitely bearable, and it was pretty interesting with all those people in the 50 player in the 50 player battle royale. Okay, Pets Go. The first one was neutral, like, you know, you just sit there and do nothing, so great. Actually, I'm gonna put it here. Now, the elite token took me 5 hours, only because I got bad RNG in the Forever Pass, okay? Like, I know the Forever Pass drops overpowered stuff, but I didn't get the overpowered stuff. My friend did it, and he got 100, like, luck potions that instantly increased his luck and allowed him to get those gingerbread pets super easily and instantly farm that gingerbread and got out of there in like 10 minutes. But I spent, I think, like 3 hours just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, sitting at the fishing hole for like no reason, and there's just nothing to do in Pets Go. There's no like mini games that make it easier. There's no nothing. You just literally sit there, and it was very unbearable. It was super easy, of course. I just had to sit there and do nothing, but it was not very fun. Okay, Fisking standard token, I felt neutral. I mean, like, I played Fisk a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm like a pro at Fisk, but like I played it for a good amount of time to know how to like, you know, catch a fish. And I know like people like say Fisk is like super difficult, but I definitely think that Fisk's difficulty is definitely overrated, and it's not that hard to catch a fish. You only have to catch 10 fish, and they give you like an okay rod like for free in the house. So I really don't understand the frustration with catching 10 fish. Now, the Fisk other quest, the elite token, that, you know, catching 45 catching 45 fish is pretty long and difficult, but it makes up for it based on the boat section. Now, if they did not give you a boat, this probably would have been in like annoying or boring or like super like grindy and like unbearable. But if you complete the standard token of Fisk, they give you a boat. Like, they give you a Santa sleigh that goes 90 miles an hour. That's like faster than like a lot of the boats in the game. So basically they just said, okay, you figured out, like, you know, you completed the standard token, now go find the elves, yay. And it's not like Driving Empire where those elves can be literally anywhere. Like, they're just everywhere. First of all, they tell you which islands they are in, and they tell you which islands are left, and they have a candy cane trail. And I think the worst one's in Roselit, but like, then again, that one's super interesting. You climb in a volcano. It's like an actual, like, you know, it's actually interesting and fun. And the rest of them, they could be just there, but they could also be in cool places where you have to follow a candy cane trail. And it's never like BS. It's never like he was hidden in like a small alcove or anything. The game is super transparent with you, and it makes it super nice. Now the catching 45 fish, you know, like makes. Actually, you know what? Fisch is probably one of the better events. Like, I feel like that section is just so transparent with you. It's so, it just tells you exactly what to do, and there's pretty much no difficulty doing it. You literally just drive around the boat. And also the Fisch atmosphere is so good. All of the islands are so nice and well decorated, and you know, Fisch is just a great game in general. And there was pretty much no problems with it. You know, except for catching 45 fish, but like, you know, it's elite token, and if you're going to try doing the elite token, you might as well, you know, have some okay rod at that point. Okay, next is Emergency Hamburg. Emergency Hamburg, I think, was like one of the last ones I did, just because how awful it sounded. In Emergency Hamburg, you had to okay, for the standard token, you had to drive this truck, and that took me 20 minutes, so that was neutral. Like, you just drive a truck, and that's fine. But the elite token was so bad. You had to be a police, and then you, like, not only do you have to drive, like, literally everywhere, you have to get out of the car. Getting out of the car in Emergency Hamburg is so painful because of the stamina system. The stamina system is probably the worst part of that game, and if you jump, oh well, you have to walk for, like, the next 3 seconds because like your entire stamina bar is depleted. Like, if you could just drive around and find those guys, and like they're not like, you know, on a boat or something, or like hiding behind like fenced off buildings, then I think it would actually be bearable. Like, if you could arrest the guy from your car, I think it would be like pretty good. Or like the guy's next to the road or something. Like, not make him in the middle of a field where I have to like run over there, deplete all my stamina, finish arresting him, then run back to my car, deplete all my stamina, and like walk back to my car. And then I also did this with a teammate, so I didn't have to drive. But driving in that game is, I'm just gonna say driving Empire's driving is better than that driving. That driving was horrible. So I'm gonna put Emergency Hamburg and let it in. It was super like just boring and had nothing to it. And then you know, finding those thieves wasn't at all interesting. It was just like annoying, and like it was horrible. And there's 4 of them. That was awful. Okay, Hero Battlegrounds. Hero Battlegrounds, I found the standard token pretty fun. I hopped into a low server and then just, you know, beat up this guy until I got the token. And then I brought in an alt eventually because it got boring. And you know, it was fine. But like, of course, in sweaty servers, this is gonna be horrible. Like, you are not gonna be doing this in a sweaty server at all. You are definitely gonna be doing this in like, you know, low servers with an alt or with a friend. And you know, the combat system's really clean and all. If you and a friend gang up on this one guy, it's actually super fun. Like, and then like the guy gets your friend low, and then you snipe your friend to get that kill for the ornaments. Like, Hero Battlegrounds was actually super interesting in how you would actually get the kills. Just don't do it in a big server. Don't do it in a big server. Doing it in a big server is like a death wish, because how many like awakened guys there are blasting everything, and just don't do it in a normal server. Now the elite token, I will say I am neutral about it. You just had to be like there during an event. I don't know if like you didn't participate in an event, you didn't, you know, get it. I was way too scared to sit AFK during an event. I mean a mini game, to you know, see what happened. But I'm pretty sure you also got it anyway. I think it's like the elite token was just like compete in a mini game. You didn't actually have to do anything. You maybe just walk around a little bit when the event starts, like go capture one flag, or like, you know, touch one guy with a present, or you know, get one gift or whatnot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't have to like win, but if you did, then that would be horrible. But like, I just, you know, was there during those mini games, and I still got the elite token. So this one was a lot less interesting. I mean, you do have to like chase people and stuff, but like, if you do it in a low server again, it's just super easy. And I definitely would not recommend doing this badge in a high server because of the amount of sweaty people there are. Okay, Liberty County. I found the standard token pretty pleasant for Liberty County, because, you know, I found out that the easiest way to do it is to be a criminal. I'm gonna go steal, I'm gonna go break into a gas station, and, you know, running from the police is always, you know, pretty fun. And I did it with another friend, and we were both robbing places. However, one thing that, you know, keeps this away from being, you know, pretty fun and making me want to do it again is that when you do get arrested, you stay in jail for 4 minutes. And not playing the game for 4 minutes, I don't think, like, many people understand, is that it's so painful and, like, annoying. It kind of ruins the entire Liberty County experience. Of course, you can just do this in a low server, in which, you know, that's what I definitely recommend doing, because there's little police. And then it actually becomes really fun. It's pretty pleasant driving around, breaking up, like, cashiers. You do have to hop servers every once in a while, because the cashiers, like, don't, like, you kill them too fast, and, you know, that is like, actually pretty annoying. But the idea of only having to break up 5 cash registers is pretty nice. And then, you know, optimizing, like, how to get away from the police, it's giving me, like, you know, jailbreak vibes back in the day. And, okay, so the elite token was horrible. I think you can agree with that, because either you had to avoid the police for an like obscene amount of time, like a really long time, or you can just hop servers like 20 times or whatever. And if you have to hop servers like 20 times, that, like, I think that's, like, bad. And now it's not because the police are constantly everywhere, it's because the game literally limits you on how many cashiers you can break into. Like I don't know why it would do that. I guess that's to, like, prevent people from farming in a low server, but, like in this context, it was, like, a big oversight, and I don't know if they should have saw this coming, but it was kind of obvious that they should have, you know, removed that limit, at least just for this event. Or something like that, or, you know, made different criminal activity that you could do that gets you presents. Because I remember me and my friend, we shot up a police officer, and they didn't drop any presents, which, you know, could have been, you know, actually interesting and a good way to get presents for that event. Because I think the only crime that you can commit is robbing the gas station. If they limit you on how many gas stations you can rob, then, you know, you're just sitting around for 4 minutes waiting for it to respawn. Or you can hop servers, which is, you know, not very fun. At least, you know, with Blade Ball and the Hero Battlegrounds, you only have to hop like once or twice, and then you're in that server, you're locked in, you know, you get that rhythm down. For this, you're just hopping servers left and right, because it's literally essential, because the game actually, like, limits you on how you can do it. Now, this, of course, only takes like 20 minutes, because there is a gas station right next to the spawn, but it's just so repetitive. It gives, like, Sonic Speed Simulator vibes, almost. And, oh, it is in the same tier as the standard token for Sonic Speed, so that makes sense. Oh, wait, I had the standard token, it's right here. Okay, we're gonna put it at the end. Okay. This is gonna be a very controversial one, but I found NFL Universe to be pretty fun. And that's because they did something different from Football Fusion during the Classic. The problem with Football Fusion during the Classic is that you had to catch the ball. You had to catch the ball, and you had to have someone throw you the ball. This quest did not require you to catch the ball. I know a lot of people think that it's required to catch the ball, but you actually don't have to. So let's start with the standard token. The standard token, you have to block 15 people, and block basically is a button on either your mobile or your PC, which you go up to an enemy, and then you click a button, and then you, like, shove them. And then if they go ragdolling, that means you blocked it. And also, you know, there's a counter in the event. I thought this was kind of funny, and it was pretty fun, especially when everyone's running for the ball, and then they're about to get it, you just shove them out of the way, and then it not only is it kind of interesting, it counts for your quest. So I thought the blocking was super bearable. It was very bearable. It is super easy, and it definitely something anyone could do. The only thing, of course, about blocking the ball is that you might not actually know what that means, and I did want to make one last video about NFL, just to explain, like, how to block the ball and how to, like, complete this super easily, because I'm gonna be honest, I was in and out of NFL in like 10 minutes. And I'm going to explain to you how with this next one, which is the elite token. The elite token meant you had to gain 15 yards. I know that's really confusing for those who don't play football, but that basically means you have the ball and you walk 15 yards forward. And then that may sound super scary. It's like, oh, I have to catch the ball and run 15 yards. No, there's actually something you can do that makes it super duper easy, and that is voting yourself quarterback. If you vote yourself quarterback, you start with the ball, and then when, they hike, you can just run forward. An easy elite token. This and Dress to Impress are probably the two easiest elite tokens of this entire event, just because it takes literally less than 10 minutes to do this. And it was of course less interesting than, shoving people out of the way, because, you just have to run. And this quest is super easy with an alt. With an alt, both of you and your alt, you vote yourself as a quarterback. There's nothing anyone else can do. I mean, you can join a low server, and that will make it, of course, easier. And basically, it is very free. It is extremely free, and there's nothing anyone in the server can do to stop you. In the old days with Football Fusion, people could just not throw the ball to you, but in this, if you get an alt and vote yourself as quarterback, start out with the ball, you will always have the ball, and then you just run forward. This is super easy, and I had a little bit of fun with it just because, of how goofy the old football was, and how, how surprised I was from seeing how easy this was. Okay. Next is Royal High. So for the first one, I found pretty pleasant. You snowboard down this mountain once or twice, and you'll get 150 eventually. Now the elite token, getting almost all of the snowflakes, is a different story because of the pure fact that it requires tech. You need to know how to walk up a mountain, because you are not, realistically, you are not finding every single path. You're not going to be finding every single path when you're, going down this for the first time. You're definitely going to miss some, and then you're definitely going to rage. You're going to be like, oh, where did I miss it? You're going to go down the slope 10 more times, and you're not going to find that one path that you found snowflakes in. And then you look up behind you, and you see all these snowflakes up a super steep mountain, and you're like, oh, how do I get up there? But you can actually unequip your snowboard and walk up the mountain. This makes the snowboarding experience a lot easier, but of course, I didn't know that at that point. And I of course, watched a video and figured it out that you could walk up mountains. But without that knowledge, finding every single possible path that you can go down in that mountain was super annoying. And I know they added 7 extra snowflakes as slack, but that really isn't enough. And there definitely should have been snowflakes in the bottom section of the mountain, because after a while they just stopped giving snowflakes for whatever reason. So yeah, that was interesting. Okay, TDS. Easy definitely was carrying the event. Easy standard, the standard token was super fun. The music was great. They give you towers to beat the event. That's really important, because that means that it's possible. They give you every material that you need to beat the event. It's not like you need to have specific towers, or you need to have played the game for a while to beat the event. No, they give it all to you for free, and then you just have to figure out how to beat it yourself. And that's great puzzle, and that's how an event should be. You just log into the game for the first time or whatever, and then you figure out how to use what the game has given you to beat their event, either by skill or by just by skill. Okay, now the elite token was a different story. I actually play TDS, and I'm level 200 something, and I have all the best towers and whatever, and I still thought this event was horrible. To beat the the elite token, you had to have a coordinated team. You are not doing this with randoms. You had to go on, on your TDS Discord or with your friends or something, and you have to find a party, pull up one of those Google Docs for your strat, and do it. That's only reserved for those super duper hard stages, and that's how this event was very intense. And I threw so many attempts at this. I think I threw 6 attempts, and each attempt takes 40 minutes. So basically TDS took 5 hours essentially, and that's not a good amount of time to be spending on an event, especially when I'm level 200. Now, if you are not level 200 and you don't have, all the towers that you need, this is pretty much impossible. You can just kiss this elite token goodbye, or your 100% progression of this event goodbye. There is no way you are beating playing this without like level 100 towers, basically, or like I guess you could get carried, but like your teammates would have to be really good. You would need very specific circumstances to be able to beat this without like overpowered towers. Like I had to beat it with Pursuit, which is a level 150 tower, Gatling Gun, which is a level like 175 tower, and like basically super good teammates with good placement who also had the same things that I had. So you have to have like 3 or 4 people all with these super broken towers in order to even stand a chance. There is no way you're standing a chance against this guy with like minigunners and like rangers, and that's it. Like it's really, really a huge oversight based on like it's just a huge oversight. It's super difficult to do this by just joining the game, and it's really sad to see that, like, you know, people couldn't do it just because they didn't have. You can't grind to level 150 in TDS in 2 weeks. Like, you just have to think about, if you were starting this game from scratch, how long would it take for you to be prepared enough to even like think about challenging hard mode or the elite token. Like, the elite token's actually harder than hard mode, just so you know. So like, I don't know what they were thinking at Paradox Games when they decided that this was a good choice for their elite token. Okay, same with Toilet Tower Defense. I'm gonna like, these were like pretty bad because not only does Toilet Tower Defense also require you to have super busted towers to even beat like easy mode. That's the standard token, by the way. That's the standard token. Like, both the standard and elite tokens require you to beat Santa's Workshop, which is pretty hard, like with starter towers. The standard token is excusable because you can be carried. The elite token, you actually have to have okay coordination with, you know, your teammate or whatever. You know what, actually, I'm gonna put elite in annoying and boring because you can actually, it's a lot easier to beat Santa's Workshop than it is to beat the Frost Spirit, because you need 4 people with good towers in the Frost Spirit, and for Skibidi Toilet Tower Defense you only need like 1 good person with overpowered towers, and it's probably easy to find someone who's grinding candy canes for the thing. Like, for the Frost Spirit, you are not gonna find someone just like playing the event for fun. Like, I mean, you could if you were in the Discord, but like, based on just like in a lobby, you're not just gonna find a group of like 3 people who are like, oh yeah, let's go do the elite token. But for Toilet Tower Defense, it's a lot easier to see someone who's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll equip 2 towers for you and let's do Santa's Workshop. So it's a lot, you know, easier than TDS. Also, if you did play the Classic, you get a little boost. If you played the Classic, you get the Classic Cameraman, in which you can solo the event with, which is what I did because I 100%ed the Classic a couple months ago, and that gave me the tower that I needed in order to think. Also, I just want to point out that Toilet Tower Defense is an RNG based game, so like, if you don't get the towers you need, you're gonna have to work with a teammate, you know. I just want to point that out, and the easiest way to do that is, of course, just to find someone overpowered who is grinding the event and plead them for help. That is the easiest way to beat Toilet Tower Defense. Okay, War Tycoon. I'm gonna say the War Tycoon, the standard token, was pretty pleasant. Like, there are 25 gifts, and if you only have to find 10 of them, that's literally less than half of them. And the, you know, dodging all of the planes and airstrikes and stuff, you know, can be pretty engaging for the limited amount of time that you're gonna be spending finding the standard token. Now, the elite token, on the other hand, was complete garbage. I spent an abnormal amount of time in War Tycoon trying to find the elite token, just because of how spread out the map is, and because the fact that there's people like trying to nuke you as you're wandering around the middle of the map. Like, a lot of the tokens, like, not most of them, but a good amount, maybe like 10 or 8 or something, 8 tokens at least are in the middle of the map, which means that you are going to be bombed by people if you are not in a low server. And being in a low, like, you're going to have to hop servers to like get out of places where there's people with like their raptors and their nukes and whatever, and just like shooting civilians because they feel like it, because that's like what you're supposed to do in the game. So like, it's kind of difficult. And then not only that, is that the presidents are in like extremely weird locations. Like, again, I mean, it is kind of excusable that there is a map. Unlike Driving Empire, there is a map. but which makes, using guides a lot easier, but that doesn't, like, change the fact that those presents are in super, like odd locations. Like, one of them is on the roof of a building. Like, how are you, actually, two of them are on the roof of a building. Like, you need to, like, first of all, get on top of that building, find out, and then you need to, like, do it, and then you also need to know to look up there. Like, one of the buildings is actually a skyscraper, so there's actually no way of knowing, or there's no way of hearing the jingle bell. At least, they have the jingle bell, right? So you can hear where their presents are, but, after a while, driving around, like, the humongous map, like, you're gonna run out of spaces to look, and then you're gonna have sworn you've seen it all, but really you haven't. There's, like, one little spot that you haven't, and, it's super, like, horrible. I wish they would stop doing this kinds of, like, collect the exact amount of things, on the map. If they just added, like, a little bit extra, and then made it, like, for the game DLC or something, like, extra rewards in game, not only does it, like, make the event easier for the people coming in from the event, it also, adds an extra incentive for, like, other players that normally play War Tycoon to try and get the new tokens that just, the extra tokens, right? Okay, finally, we're at the end of the Winter Spotlight, and we're ending off with Warrior Cats. Warrior Cats, I thought, the normal token was very pleasant, and the elite token, of course, was just annoying, Finding 3 animals is super duper easy, and you can do it in, like, 2 seconds. And the elite token, finding 20 animals is, quite a task. I know there are some animals that drop 2 points, and I've even seen an animal that drops 5 points, but that was on someone else's screen, not mine. So, I did not, really enjoy hunting, doing the same thing again and again, and especially there's so many role players in that game sniping my kills, like, again and again. It just annoyed me so much, and I wish that there was, like, something else that you could do other than doing the same thing again and again. Maybe there was, like, legendary animals or something that required you to do something other than sneak up on them and kill them instantly. Or maybe there's a boss or something, I don't know. There definitely could have been something else that could have been implemented in there to make it, like, less repetitive. Alright, so that is the end of the Winter Spotlight event. Overall, well, let's see. We got elite token. Yeah, basically, most of the elite tokens were pretty garbage. Most of them are gonna be in either neutral or annoying or boring, or, like, complete garbage. If you are going for tokens, I do suggest, of course, Dress to Impress, which is right here, and NFL, which is right here. Those are definitely the 2 easiest in the entire event. They take literally, both of them take less than, like, 40 minutes collectively. You could get both of them in less than an hour. And I think, and their experiences are not that bad. As you can see, I had a fun time with both Dress to Impress and NFL. So, it doesn't have to be horrible. Like, you can have fun while doing the elite tokens. You just got to do specific ones. If you are going to leave some out, I suggest leaving out TDS and Dusty Trip, and then you have the other 2 slots for you for free. Leave out whatever you choose. Beast Swarm did get nerfed, as I said before, and is a lot easier to complete, is a lot better, but when I did it, it was horrible because of the vicious bees and the 750,000 pollen, which was, like, terrible. And most of the other games in the middle are just, doing tasks over and over again. And it's not very, fun or interesting, but they're there, so yeah, you can decide if you want to do those or not. Alright, so that's gonna be the end of this video. This will be my last ranking of the Winter Spotlight. I probably will make one more video about the Winter Spotlight, talking about how easy NFL is, because I don't think people understand how easy it is, and I really, like, hope that they could see how easy it is, because it is super easy, and really should be exploited because it's that easy. And people are giving it bad publicity even though it is super simple. Alright, that is it. See you next time. Bye-bye.